Hi everyone, back to Evermore YouTube channel. It's Chris back with my rant stroke thought of the day, and a thought drowned in laughter about Mikel Arteta, the bedwetter. That's right. The Arsenal manager's heed has fell clean off after Newcastle United's 1-0 victory at St James's Park yesterday. Everyone's seen his press conference. He's tossed an almighty wobbler about Anthony Gordon's goal, and it's hilarious. It really is. Even more funnier than Piers Morgan taking to X to voice his displeasure and thus being met by loads of Newcastle fans giving him stick as well. It's so sweet. Drink it in, hook it into the veins. But here's my thoughts about Mikel Arteta. Now, I told you about Mikel Arteta before. I think his antics on the sideline are fucking disgrace half the time. The way he goes on like a jack in the box and squares up the opposing managers and tries to influence the referee, gets in the ear of the fourth official. He doesn't cover himself in any glory whatsoever at all. He's not a very well liked manager, I don't think, by a lot of the other supporters and a lot of the other probably managers as well in the Premier League as well. They say nice things in press conferences because they've got to really. But anyone that can get Eddie Howe to square up to you generally is a bit of a knob. Eric Ten Hag and Mikel Arteta firmly meet the requirement for that list. But what he said after the game, and if you haven't seen it already, if you've been living on a rock in space or something like that, or you've just woke up from a 3-day bender and didn't even know we played Arsenal, basically what he's kicking off about is Anthony Gordon's goal. So there was three opportunities for VAR to look at this goal to basically rule it out. So you can't say VAR didn't try, Mikel. They tried their best to fucking overrule this goal, but there wasn't enough conclusive evidence to do it. Now the first one is Joe Willock keeping the ball in play, and by the wonder of magic, Mark might pull this graph up in a second. Now, BN Sports, the home of Hairy Hands and Andy Gray, what a gruesome twosome they were, by the way, if you remember them from Sky Sports back in the day. So they showed a bit of technology that shows that not the whole ball was out, and the whole ball has to be out for it to be out of play. So there's number one done, Mikel. You obviously haven't looked at that one well enough. The second one is it a foul by Joe Linton? Now, your centre half is as weak as piss. He tries to lean to almost buy the free kick, and he's already leaning into Joe Linton to take Joe Linton off balance. So that ain't conclusive enough for a foul either. Now, the last one being offside, you could argue maybe he has a case, because if the ball comes off Joe Linton and falls to Anthony Gordon, he may possibly be offside, but it's Rizzler paper thin between Gabriel and Gordon, and because Gabriel's the last defender, you've got all these other weird kind of caveat rules and everything else to see where the goal should be disallowed. Now, they looked at it 3 times and they said that it wasn't conclusive enough, so the goal has to stand. Now, Mikel Arteta was crying practically in the press conference. His fucking mascara was nearly running. That's how upset he was. And he said it's a disgrace. He's embarrassed. He felt sick about this decision. Now, you don't feel that way when it's you getting the fucking rub of the green, do you, Mikel? Only a month ago or so, he was shouting for support for these fucking officials, and now he's throwing them under the bus wheels and watching them ride over their necks. He's a fucking hypocrite. He really is. Even some of the other football and, community, I suppose, if you want to call them celebrity podcasters, I fucking hate that phrase, but there's some of them even come out and said, isn't it interesting how Man City and Newcastle are getting favourable decisions from officials? And this fucking idiot's a Man United fan. I'm 40-year-old. I remember Man United getting decisions for 20 fucking years. How many penalties did they get compared to everybody else at home, you fucking wet wipe? Give your head a wobble and sort your fucking shit out, son. What a bell end he is. Going back to Mikel Arteta in question. Now, the bit that rubs me up about Mikel Arteta is the man has no fucking class whatsoever. He's talking about disgrace and embarrassing and all this kind of stuff. Well, what I suggest you do, Mikel, is take that fucking Lego head of yours off, put another one on with glasses on, go back and watch Kai Havertz's tackle on Shaw Longstaff. There should have been a straight fucking red card, in my opinion. Both feet off the ground, 10 minutes late. Sean is incredibly lucky that he didn't get his fucking legs snapped by this absolutely overrated, overpriced bag of shite player that you have playing for you. He wasn't good enough for Chelsea. He ain't good enough for you. He's fucking shite. He can't shoot. He can't pass it. He can't fucking tackle either. So go back and look at that one, Arteta, and then tell me what you should be embarrassed and feel sick about, because that tackle was fucking X-rated. Yes, Bruno should have probably gone as north for his elbow smash, but that was only because the referee lost control of the game after your shit player and his crap tackle. But he's got no fucking class at all, Mikel Arteta. When Eddie Howe was asked about the Kai Havertz challenge, he basically answered in a classy way. Obviously, it helped he won the game. If we hadn't won the game, he might have got a bit animated about it. But he was very classy in his approach, as he always is, Eddie Howe. Mikel Arteta is a whiny-faced fucking teenager. He really is. Every single time he moans like fuck. He's saying, It's too late. It's too late. The journalist was saying, well, devil's advocate, there was 3 decisions in Stockley Park, and he was saying, that's even worse. That's even worse. I'm sick. I feel embarrassed. I've been here 20 years. This is meant to be the best league in the world. Well, if you don't like it, Mikel, hand your notice in and fuck off somewhere else then, son. If you don't like the Premier League, you've got a fucking top job that you're probably lucky enough to have, to be honest with you, because no big manager was going to touch the Arsenal job with a 10-foot dick at the time that you got it. Yes, you've done a decent job. You won the FA Cup. You've got them challenging for the title. But listen, you come to a place like St James's Park. Now, give him his credit. He did say this is a tough place to come because they are a top team. But you come to St James's Park, you're in for a battle, you're in for a war. A lot of your players just weren't up for that at all. Your centre forward in Nketiah was fucking invisible. He was shite. Lascelles and Cher had him in their pockets. He didn't do enough. You haven't got a focal point. You're like a fucking hammer with no heed is what you are. You need a centre forward. If you had a centre forward, you'd probably win a game like that. Thank fuck for us that you didn't have one. But when you start looking at your own players before you start ripping down everybody else, your defence were weak at moments where they had to be. I think, was it Gabriel in the challenge with Joe Linton? Saliba, I think, in the challenge with Wilson. They were weak as piss when you needed them to be strong, and you were beaten by the better side on the day. Take some fucking humility in that, show some class, give Newcastle their credit. He gave Newcastle no credit. He just moaned like fuck about the officials, because that's what he is, a moany-faced bitch who looks like Captain Scarlet. Fucking get over it. I'm seeing things now popping up that Arsenal are going to try to take the PGMOL to the court of arbitration, all this other fucking nonsense. We're not America here. We don't sue people for fucking anything, for breathing or for farting in public. This is a fucking joke, honestly. Just make peace with the decision and fucking get on with it. I guarantee you, when this season is finished, Arsenal will have their more fair shares of favourable decisions than there will decisions against them. You watch it, mark my fucking words. But this bloke will never say anything about that whatsoever. He'll just moan about Newcastle getting that rub of the green. If he loses the title, he'll go back and complain about that Newcastle decision, and I think it's fucking hilarious. So suck on that, Arsene Wenger, all these Arsenal fan wet wipes crying and all. How many times you had the rub of the fucking green against teams? It's what goes around comes around, and it's your time to experience some of that. So that's my thoughts on this. If you like this kind of thing, guys, smash subscribe, like the video, help the channel grow. If you fancy being a member, there's a membership option there as well. You get exclusive first snip or first viewing of these rants that we do, which are always well received by you guys. So smash whatever button tickles your fancy. I hope Mikel Arteta has some good detergent to wash off the mascara that's all over his pillow as he's cried himself to sleep. Ha 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 ha. Fuck you, Arteta. Have a good day, everybody. See you later. Cheers. Bye.